a dentist in New York, had the extraordinary abilities of clairvoyance and clairaudience in childhood. Through automatic writing or unconscious writing, he spent a whole year to complete a masterpiece named Oahspe in 1881. This book shook the world because much of its content was decades, even centuries, ahead of modern science. It is called the New Bible or a prophetic book, thus also known as the Oahspe prophecy. Newbrough claimed that he didn't write the book himself, it was dictated to him by a deity named OHASPE through automatic typing. The Oahspe prophecy contains many shocking and intriguing ideas about the origin and evolution of the universe, Earth, and human history. It also discusses the existence and roles of galaxies, planets, and divine civilizations. OHASPE's description of the universe and human history is entirely different from what we're familiar with, offering a fascinating perspective that provides new insights into the cosmos and our past. This book presents many viewpoints and prophecies that contradict mainstream science and history, leading to both controversy and interest. The world described in the book is divided into three levels: the corpor, atmosphere, etheria. OHASPE offers a unique perspective on human history, suggesting it doesn't follow a straight line but is a cyclical process. People in different eras experience repeating events and stages, differing only in form and detail. So just how mysterious is this 39-chapter book? Today let's delve into Oahspe. Hi everyone, this is Akashic Records. The book Oahspe is astonishing for two main reasons: how it was written and its content. We'll discuss the writing process later, but first, let's touch on what this new Bible is about. Oahspe is a spiritual masterpiece with 39 chapters and 2 million words. Its scope is unprecedented. Some say it's similar to the Bible because of its style and its beginning with Genesis. However, its coverage is much broader. The book's descriptions of cosmology and ancient history are extraordinary and mystical. Written in an ancient style, it explains the universe's division from both heavenly and earthly perspectives. Many moving and clear passages focus on morality and spirituality. The book contains hundreds of pages detailing stories of gods and goddesses traveling through space on massive ships. It includes many symbols and illustrations. These symbols were initially hard to understand, but many have been decoded. Oahspe also mentions the world of Jehovah. This refers to the creator of the entire universe, or the great creator. The book outlines the origins of life, plants, and animals on Earth, as well as Earth's infinite residence in the atmospheric realm. It explains that Jehovah created the entire universe, including the spiritual, mental, and physical worlds, and divided the universe into three great worlds: the corpor, atmosphere, and etheria. The book describes how the world was formed and the forces that govern it, explaining how light, heat, magnetism, and electricity are created. It mentions that the two fundamental forces recognized by our science are incorrect. Also introduces another type of force in the universe called the vortex force. We'll dive deeper into this later. The book also describes the formation of languages, rituals of different eras on Earth, and prophecies about the future of Earth and humanity. The author, John Newbrough, was born on June 5, 1828. As a child, he had the ability to sense things others couldn't. He often heard voices talking to him. Whenever he shared this with his father, he was scolded. John's father, a highly educated man, did not believe in anything related to the spiritual realm. He thought that if John shared his experiences with others, it would embarrass him as someone who only believed in science. He also feared people might think his son was mentally ill. So John's father strictly forbade him from talking about these experiences, and eventually John stopped mentioning them. At 16, John enrolled in a medical school, graduating at 21 and working at his uncle's hospital. During the California gold rush, John decided to try his luck mining for gold. After a few months at the hospital, he headed to California, where he struck gold and made a substantial amount of money. 2 years later, with most of California's gold exhausted, John moved to Australia to mine more gold, again finding success. With his newfound wealth, John Newbrough began traveling around Europe. A few years later, John returned to America and began his dentist career. Soon after, he married, and everything seemed to be going well. However, one day his father shared something that completely changed John's life. His father said, "I had never believed you when you said you heard voices. But after your mother passed away, one day, I suddenly heard her talking to me." John's father had started to believe in spirits. Due to his father's earlier strong reaction, John had buried his own experiences of hearing voices. But after hearing his father's revelation, John was overjoyed. He told his father that he hadn't heard his mother, but he often heard other voices, which he believed were from spirits. From that moment on, John dedicated more time to studying spirituality and even consulted a psychic. John told the psychic, "I can hear the voices, but whenever I ask a question, I never get an answer." The The psychic told John, "You must not ask questions. What you can do is let the spirit attach to your body and then use automatic writing to record what they say. But not everyone can do this, as it requires some special physical conditions." The psychic added, "Even those without a special physical condition can achieve this through certain methods." Intrigued, John asked, "What do I need to do?" Eager for an answer, the psychic explained, "You must keep your body clean, bathe at least twice a day, avoid any desires, live a regulated life, and maintain a vegetarian diet. Over time, your body will change, making it easier for spirits to attach. In other words, you need a pure body. However, there's a problem. What if an evil spirit attaches itself?" Despite this concern, John decided to follow the method. Over 6 years, he lost 14 kg, showing remarkable perseverance. John's intense focus on this interest led to a strained relationship with his wife, eventually resulting in their divorce. But John began to develop some unusual abilities. He could draw with both hands simultaneously in the dark, read books with his eyes closed, experience out-of-body sensations, and lift heavy objects effortlessly, like a weightlifter. Despite these abilities, John wasn't really interested in them. His true desire was to receive information from the spirits, which ultimately led to the creation of OHASPE. Later, on January 21, 1883, John wrote a letter to the editor of a magazine. In the letter, he described, "I was crying for the light of heaven. I did not desire communication for friends or relatives or information about earthly things. I wished to learn something about the spirit world, what the angels did, how they traveled, and the general plan of the universe. I was directed to get a typewriter which writes by keys, like a piano. This I did, and I applied myself industriously to learn it, but with only indifferent success. For 2 years more, the angels propounded to me questions relative to heaven and earth, which no mortal could answer very intelligently. One morning, the light struck both hands on the back, and they went for the typewriter for some 15 minutes very vigorously. I was told not to read what was printed, and I have worked myself into such a religious fear of losing this new power that I obeyed reverently. The next morning, also before sunrise, the same power came and wrote or printed rather again. Again, I laid the matter away very religiously, saying little about it to anybody. One morning, I seemed accidental to me, looked out of the window and beheld the line of light that rested on my hands extending heavenward like a telegraph wire towards the sky. Over my head were 3 pairs of hands, fully materialized. Behind me stood another angel with her hands on my shoulders. My looking did not disturb the scene. My hands kept right on printing. For 50 weeks this continued, every morning, half an hour or so before sunrise, and then it ceased, and I was told to read and publish the book Oahspe. Look, John spent 50 weeks typing 30 minutes every day to complete a 2 million-word masterpiece. It's truly an incredible experience. Plus, all the strange images in the book were drawn by John with a pencil. The book contains many images and symbols resembling hieroglyphs, all of which John wrote automatically while in a completely unconscious state. This method of writing is known as automatic writing. For those who might not know, automatic writing or spirit writing is a type of spiritual ability. It means writing while in an unconscious state, typically when influenced by invisible spirits. People who experience spirit possession often write while their consciousness is relaxed and detached. This makes me think of the case of the sleeping prophet Edgar Cayce. On the surface, his situation seems similar to being possessed by a spirit. At age 12, Cayce heard an angel talking to him, and after lying down on some books and falling asleep, he woke up able to recall everything from those books. As he grew up, despite having no medical knowledge, he was able to diagnose and treat illnesses, all while in a deep, unconscious state. For nearly half a century, he continued to heal and prophesy this way. However, Cayce's case might not be about spirit possession, but rather about his subconscious being activated, taking over his conscious mind and unlocking past life memories. You can see that many people, when under hypnosis, have their subconscious come to the forefront as their conscious mind relaxes. They might reveal information they wouldn't otherwise know, or explain concepts beyond their usual understanding. In various traditional rituals, a person might be surrounded by drumming and chanting people. This could cause the person to enter a relaxed state where their conscious mind is overtaken by other entities. These entities could be either beneficial or harmful. In OHASPE, many secrets about consciousness, the existence of a creator, the nature of heaven, and human destiny are revealed. Though it's often called a new Bible, it doesn't resemble the Bible as much as one might think. With over 2 million words, the book contains an overwhelming amount of information, so we'll only cover some key sections. We'll strive to present the corporeal worlds as accurately as possible, but please bear with us if some translations lead to misunderstandings. The book explains, much like other holy texts, how the world was created, where heaven is, and what happens to the souls of the deceased. It reveals how the Creator formed the world, the location of heaven, the fate of souls, their honor, lifestyle, and work. Through these descriptions, readers can gain insights into the wisdom, power, love, and glory of Tihi Almighty, and understand that everything in this world is not random but a manifestation of divine intelligence. Don't go anywhere, guys. Join me in part 2, where we'll delve deeper into each world. Did you know that the corporeal worlds includes more than just what we can see and touch, with mysteries about the origins and formation of the universe? Are you curious about how the atmosphere protects and sustains life on Earth? Most importantly, are you ready to explore the Etherian worlds, where spirituality and consciousness transcend physical limits to connect with the Creator? Don't miss the next part with Akashic. Welcome back to Akashic Records. If you've watched part 1, you now have an overview of the 3 great worlds: the Corpor, Atmosphere, and Etheria. We've explored how each world exists independently yet interacts with the others, shaping the universe and life. In this second part, we'll continue our journey through this special book. Ever wondered how the world was created? Where is heaven? What happens to the souls after death? And how they live? This book reveals these mysteries, offering insight into the wisdom, power, love, and glory of the Creator. Join us as we continue to uncover the Creator's wisdom and gain a clearer understanding of our existence in the universe. Don't forget to share this video with your friends to explore together. The most exciting part starts right now. In the overview of the 3 great worlds, the Corpor, Atmospherean, and Etheria, we've gained a general understanding of how each world not only exists independently but also interacts with one another, shaping the universe and life itself. Natural laws, the protection and support of the atmosphere, and profound spiritual connections altogether paint a comprehensive and rich picture of existence and the meaning of life. In reality, many phenomena remain unexplained by current science. However, if we believe that everything in the world is a creation of the Creator and accept this premise, many of these issues might find clearer answers. The book suggests that the universe is a complete entity, where everything is a member with its own language, like birds, beasts, stars, and the sun. Everything has its own language, which is the soul speaking. The Creator made the earth, shaped it, and placed it in the heavens. By the Creator's existence, everything exists, life persists, and is sustained. The Creator also made death so that the soul can be born among the heavenly expanse and inherit the Etherian worlds. Reflecting on this, death may not seem so frightening, as the soul will ascend to another realm in the universe. The question remains which higher state the soul will attain after death. Jehovah says that all things in the universe, whether visible or invisible, are a part of him. He is the spirit of all things, yet he has 2 seemingly opposing aspects. One is invisible but powerful, and the other is visible but powerless. Based on these 2 aspects, he created all creatures, meaning every being has both corporeal worlds and spiritual dimensions. The spiritual aspect is the most important, while the physical body is the least significant. Do you remember this case? In 2007, one of the world's most prestigious medical journals, The Lancet, reported a case that stunned the world. A 44-year-old French government official went for an exam due to a problem with his left thigh. After a thorough checkup, doctors found no issues and proceeded to perform a CT and MRI of his brain. When the results came out, the doctors were shocked to discover that the man had no brain. To be more precise, his brain was extremely small, about 10% of the size of a typical brain. The doctors described his brain as virtually non-existent. The astonishing thing was that the patient seemed to function normally, with no noticeable differences from other people. His IQ was 75, which is slightly below average but far from being classified as intellectual disability. Moreover, his life was quite happy and seemed unaffected. This might be a typical example showing that the physical brain isn't as crucial as we might think. Jehovah says, "I made humans the leaders of all creatures on earth. I created man and woman so that they could know me, and I commanded them to give me a name. Humans did not name me after anything on heaven or earth. They followed my will, using the sound that the wind makes to name me, calling me Jehovah." Could it be that humans recognized the Creator through the form of wind? I recall many videos discussing the mystical nature of sound. Some famous philosophers believe that sound has immense power and an enigmatic connection with the universe, possibly related to its creation. Additionally, some cultural traditions consider sound as a spiritual tool. A Tibetan monk once mentioned that the mandala patterns on the walls of their temples are projected from sound. In other words, these images are created by sound. This book also notes that the Creator asked humans to follow his will and use the sound of the wind to name him. This makes me think the vibrations of the wind, how fascinating is that? The book also discusses the order of the three worlds. Jehovah says, "By virtue of my presence created I the seen and the unseen worlds. And I commanded man to name them, and the man the seen worlds corpor, and the unseen worlds es. To es I gave dominion over corpor, with es I filled all place in the firmament. But corpor I made into earths and moons and stars and suns beyond number made I them, and I caused them to float in the places I allotted to them." Es is divided into two parts, one called the etheria and the other called the atmospheria, which is the atmosphere-in worlds. Previously, we discussed cases from Dolores Cannon, a past life regression expert. In one case named PH, during hypnosis, PH mentioned that all civilizations recognize the existence of a deity but give it different names and concepts. All universes together constitute the deity, and each of us is a part of this deity. The whole of us combined is the deity. It seems that the deity PH refers to is indeed the creator. So Jehovah says, "I am all, he is everything." How do the three worlds in the universe actually operate? The book explains that Jehovah created the purest etherian worlds and made it the most wondrous of all creations, giving it a unique position and power. It can exist independently and permeate all things, even existing within the corporeal worlds. Jehovah entrusted etherian worlds with dominion over the atmospherian and corporeal worlds. The book also describes that everything in the etherian worlds resembles the corporeal worlds, but with different shapes and sizes. Both within and without of etherian worlds are habitable, with entrances and exits, in arches and curves, thousands of miles high and wide, and in colors, and movable chasms and mountains in endless change and brilliancy. The Creator has granted its motions, orbits, and courses of their own, independently made, and above all other worlds in potency and majesty. The book also describes that while there are many etheria's worlds in the universe, they vary greatly in size and density. Jehovah created the atmosphere and worlds in the firmament. They are shapeless and void of fixed form, with its own places, orbits, and courses. They are in process of condensation and dissolution, being intermediate in condition betwixt etherian and corporeal worlds. The difference between the etherian worlds and atmospherean worlds lies in their density. Jehovah used 3 different densities to create the atmospherean worlds and assign names to them. The AGI resembles the heaven we know, with a high density area in the etherian worlds. Sometimes it descends to earth. The GIA realm is in the middle of the atmospherean worlds and resembles the hell we know. There is also the nebulae, the final layer between the lower part of the atmospherean worlds and the corporeal worlds. In Buddhism, there is a concept of the bardo which might correspond to this nebulae layer. Thus, what we know as heaven and hell may actually be different layers within this atmospherean worlds. We have previously discussed many near-death experiences. Many people report moving into light after their souls leave their bodies. This may correspond to entering the atmospherean worlds. The nebula layer is often described as a world of light, while some experience what feels like hell. In other words, these souls might be entering different layers within the atmospherean worlds, and heaven and hell as we understand them might be part of this realm rather than the etherian worlds. The book also mentions that after death, souls enter the spiritual realm, not the etherian worlds directly. Absolutely, each person's density determines where they end up after death. First, we arrive at the bardo realm. Those with higher density might end up in what we consider hell, while those with lower density could reach heaven. This is why it's said that people on earth need to cultivate themselves. Cultivation here refers to changing one's density, or karma. Less karma means a lower density and a chance to reach heaven, while more karma means higher density and a possibility of ending up in hell. The book also explains that the elements making up the atmosphere and worlds are similar to those in the corporeal worlds, but less dense. Just as Earth has elements like iron, lead, gold, water, oil, and stone, these also exist in the atmospherean worlds. Jehovah says, "As I have given light to the earth, so have I given light to many of them." The corporeal worlds, according to the book, consists of anything with length, breadth, and thickness, and can be perceived by sight, sound, and touch. Humans call the seen worlds corpor, and the unseen worlds es. And the inhabitants of corpor, man named corporeans. But the inhabitants of es he called sometimes eons, and sometimes spirits, and sometimes angels. Jehovah says, "But corpor I made into earths and moons and stars and suns beyond number made I them, and I caused them to float in the places I allotted to them. I created the earth, and fashioned it, and placed it in the firmament. And by my presence brought man forth a living beings. A corporeal body gave I him that he might learn corporeal things, and death I made that he might rise in the firmament and inherit my Etherean's worlds. So combining what Dolores Cannon and Edgar Cayce have said about the formation of the universe, it seems like the purpose of coming to Earth is to learn. Once humans have learned their lessons, the Creator allows their souls to ascend to their destined place. That's why when the physical body dies, the soul can be freed and move on. This might be the reason behind human death. Earlier, we only covered the first 2 chapters of the prophetic book OHASPE. The book has 8 chapters. In the upcoming chapters, it describes how Jehovah explained the creation of the world through the metaphor of a whirlwind. He responded to humanity's prayers, showing how the whirlwind condensed into the atmosphere and worlds and then created the corporeal worlds. He uses the life cycle of plants and Earth's changes as metaphors for the development and fate of the universe. In our next episodes, we'll explore the origins of life as described in OHASPE. From today's overview, which part impressed you the most? The description of the Etherean worlds, where the Creator grants special motion, orbits, and pathways to exist independently and surpass all other worlds with unmatched power and majesty. Doesn't this hint at the reason for parallel worlds and why we don't see them? What are your thoughts? Do you believe OHASPE was created under the influence of unseen forces on the author? Share your thoughts in the comments below the video. That's it for today's episode. If you found this video or other content on the Akashic Records channel useful, please share it with a friend who might be interested. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.